identity back. And I need to carry on doing what I'm doing. So we did sit down. We did come to an arrangement. It was very costly. And thank God I have a very supportive husband, and he assisted me hugely. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure what I would have done. We're not all in that situation. So rather be careful than to just go off willy-nilly and do something because it sounds good. So please, that's my very, very big word of advice to you today. And then I always say, don't always just be successful in business. You need to be successful in your life as well. Running your own business takes a lot of your time. My offices are at my home. I find it very hard to close the door to my office because it's right there. So I'm always working, and I'll be sending emails at midnight. And sometimes I've got to think, actually, I have a husband, I have a life, I have other responsibilities. So remember to always try and keep that balance, because by doing that, you end up giving better and more of yourself. If you get exhausted, tired, run down, sick, you're not going to be able to do that. So remember, you need to build your life as well as your business. That's most important, and especially if you have children as well. I've met so many people in my life, especially in the corporate world, that are doing so the wrong things, and they just need to be able to take that leap of faith to be able to get out there and do what they really love doing. And I always encourage people, I always say, don't just hand in your resignation. These days, jobs are hard to come by. We all have to earn a living. We all have to feed families. So choose your moment, but get out there, explore what you really love doing. And I think that's what you have all done. You are all in that situation. So I congratulate you for that. What you put into life is what you're going to get out. And I've seen that. It's the way you treat people. It's the way what you put in, what you promise. It's the feedback. It's the repeat business. It's all of those things that are going to come back to you. So I think one needs to be very mindful of that. And then remember, if you don't succeed, try and try again. It's the good old cliche, because sometimes we don't always succeed first off or in the beginning, but there's many examples of very big entrepreneurs that in fact have gone bankrupt. I think Richard Branson was one that teetered on it, and a good few of them that have done that, but they've gone back and they've just kept at it, and they built themselves up to what they are today. So it just takes a lot of hard work. I always say, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's so much out there on the internet today as well. Anything you need to know, whether it be around compliance, governance, starting your business, opening up bank accounts, all of those good things, simple things. If one's not sure, look for it. Go and ask for help. We've got all these wonderful bodies, and I'm very proud to say that I'm also the patron of an organization called Women in Finance. And that's a misnomer, because it's not only women, there are gentlemen involved as well. But Colleen Larson, who actually is the CEO and runs it, has done amazing things for small to medium business entrepreneurs. And that's the reason why I accepted to be involved, to become the patron, because she runs amazing workshops. She helps and assists young entrepreneurs to really get going. So if you want to go online, have a look at it. A wonderful website with all kinds of information. It's Women in Finance, www.womeninfinance.co.za. I know she's doing some incredible workshops with international speakers coming out all around the same thing. So go out and look for those sorts of things and ask for help. And as much as we think we know, I still have a lot to learn. And I don't know about you, but one is learning every day. And I always say, I think I've heard it all. I think I've experienced it all. In fact, you haven't, because every day, and my mom used to say, you learn something new every day in your life. And to this day, at my good old age, I'm still learning, and I'm still surprised at what I'm learning out there. What's helped me a lot in my life is my positivity. I try and be very positive about things and not too negative. When things happen, and as they have done to me, it's not been an easy ride, and there's been a lot of rocky times. I've always remained positive, and I think you need that, and you also need a jolly good sense of humor, because if you stop laughing at things, you stop laughing at life, you're going to be in trouble. Confidence in what you do. I'm sure you do. I have great confidence in what I do. I never overpromise, and I always stress that too. Never overpromise your client that you're going to do all these amazing things, because when the push comes to shove and you don't deliver, you're not going to get the repeat business, and your name is going to be affected out there. So try and stay confident, stay positive, and don't overpromise. And everyone has the inherent ability to do whatever it is that they want to do. And right here, I want to actually just quote you something that Nelson Mandela said. And he is a very, very wise, wonderful man. And he talks around education, but it goes far beyond education. Education is a great engine of personal development. It is through education that the daughter of a peasant can become a doctor, that the son of a mine worker can become the head of a mine, that the child of a farm worker can become the president of a great nation. It is what we make out of what we have, not what we are given, that separates one person from another. I've always said I'll sleep when I'm dead. There's just too much to do, and sleep is just a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. And I've just still got a lot more to do. People say Edith Venter is a brand. I guess it is. It's when people mention Edith Venter, they recognize the name, they know what I stand for. And it surprises me a little, because I never, when I was growing up in that family of 6 children in Edenvale, ever saw myself as being a brand. And even when I married my husband, Johnny Schwartz, and I'm still known as Edith Venter, and I said, honey, you're just going to have to live with it, unfortunately, because whether you like it or not, I'm Edith Venter. He's very understanding, and he doesn't give 2 hoots, so I'm very fortunate that way. I think it's what's happened to me in my life. I think my marriage to Bill Venter is when I really grew. I traveled much, and all kinds of things happened to me, and that's how I started the brand. And I think I've made myself more powerful and visible because of all the events that we do and all the events that I attend as well, and organizations that I've helped. I'm very careful, and I think you also need to look at this in your context of what you do, is how my name is used, where it's used, how it's used, because if it's used incorrectly, it's a reflection on me. People don't see it as somebody else's event. If I happen to be or be slightly involved, they see it as my event. So I'm very, very careful how I align my name, and you need to be too. I'm also very careful what sponsorships I accept. I'm often asked, I'm given sponsorships for all kinds of things, but I'm also, again, very, very careful, because it has to be correct, it has to be legal, it has to be all of those good things. I'm also careful with what I endorse, because if I endorse a product and the product doesn't live up to what they say it's going to do or achieve, it's my name again that's tainted and affected. I think because of all that, I've earned the trust, I've earned the respect, and I've gained the recognition. And I think that's how you can build up what you are doing. There's no need for you not to be able to achieve that as well. And I think I've made the most of all the opportunities that have come my way, whatever's come my way. Sometimes I get invited to functions and I'm really tired and I think I really don't want to go tonight, but I do. If I've accepted something and I've agreed to do something, I always keep my word and I always am there. And so often it's on evenings or places like that where I find the most amazing networking opportunities. And networking is the most wonderful thing, especially for small and medium business entrepreneurs, because you've got to get out there, you've got to talk to other people, you've got to talk to like-minded people, because you will learn from those people. So get up, get out there, and make sure that you expose yourself to as much as what you can. It's something that I was taught as a child, and it stood me in very, very good stead, is that whatever happens to me, wherever I'm invited to, whatever I'm asked to do, I always remember to say please and thank you. I think it just goes back to the respect thing. I always write my thank you emails the next day. I always thank clients for taking time to meet with me. I always thank clients for using me, or whatever the situation might be. I find that little please and thank you goes a very, very long way, and people remember those sorts of things. I'm also not afraid to share my knowledge. As I said, I must probably, on an average, a week, get about 20 phone calls or emails from young people saying, we're wanting to go into events, or we're starting our own business, we know what you've done, please can we come and see you? And I'm always happy to give them time, I'm always happy to mentor them and to assist them, because through doing that, because really in our country, it's the small and the medium entrepreneurs that are going to keep the country going. It's all those little businesses, because we can't all work for big corporates, and a lot of us don't want to anyway, but we need to get that whole flow going. So we need to share our knowledge. Don't be afraid. I always say there's enough for everyone, even if it's in the same field as what you're doing. I'm also not afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to stand up and be counted. Stand up and say what you feel. If there's something that bugs you or you really believe in, stand up and say that. Even if people look at you maybe a little strangely, it's what you believe in. Don't be afraid to stand out. It will set you apart from the pack. Another thing I've never believed in, and I'm always quite fascinated, are titles. You know, people want to be the CEO, or they want to be the what. And I always say, a title is a title. It's who gets down and does the work at the end of the day. In events, I will get down and clean floors if I have to, because it's going to make my event better. I'm not going to turn around and say, but I'm the owner of this business and I don't do that. You know, somebody else has to. Or I don't take calls. You know, somebody else. I answer my own phone. And people are always surprised when they call in. I say, hi, Edith speaking. And they say, oh my gosh, we didn't expect you to answer the phone. And I said, who did you expect to answer the phone? It's my business. I'm going to answer the phone. If you have a problem, or you have a query, or you want to know something, or you want to book an event, I'm going to answer the phone and I'm going to deal with you. It's a one-on-one situation. So be there. Don't hide behind doors or hide behind titles. If something needs to be done in your company, get out there and do it. And that way you show the people who work for you that you are prepared to do exactly what you're asking them to do as well. And it gains respect. I've spoken to you about the women in finance. I really urge you to go ahead and have a look at that, because there are many organizations such as that, especially for what you are doing in. And I'd like to just touch on the rules that I've lived my life by, whether it be on a personal level or a business level. And I think it's stood me in good stead. I always say to people, never be ashamed of where you come from. Never be ashamed of where you come from. However, I look again at people like Oprah. She came from an abused situation and how she's built herself up today. And she's not ashamed to talk about it. I always am a little surprised at I know one of them is Liz Hurley, and I know she's just been in the country recently, where she won't allow the media to ask her any questions on when she was a teenager, because she was a punk kind of a kid, a bit crazy, a bit off the wall, but she pretends that she never ever did that. But it's silly. don't be ashamed of where you come from, because it's where you come from has made you what you are today. So be proud of that. Be proud of your parents. Be proud of your upbringing. Have no regrets. I have people say, do you have any regrets of all the things that have happened to you? Because people look at me and say, she's fine, she's great, she's whatever. There's many sweat, blood, tears, and things that have gone into this body. So I have no regrets. I always say if I have one regret, I might not have the 2 children I have. I might not be standing here today. I might not be doing what I do for charity organizations. So regrets are a waste of time. If you've made a bad business decision, doesn't matter, move on. Learn from it, move on, leave it behind, leave the baggage behind. I know I've been married and divorced far too many times, and I always say, it's closing a door and it's opening another. And sometimes I always say, sometimes when I slam that door shut, I often wish somebody's foot is stuck in the middle. Not really, but sometimes. But you need to leave the baggage behind, because it becomes very heavy. If I had to look back and be scared and angry about what happened around my business dealing where I nearly lost my business, I wouldn't be focused on going forward. And I think Peter mentioned, stay focused on your goal. Don't let the negativity or people's jealousy or whatever the case might be drag you down. You stay focused, you keep going, and you're going to get there. Make no judgments. I know I'm judged many times through media or whatever, and often when people meet me, they say, gosh, you're not what we expected. And I always say, well, what did you expect? It's because we make judgments. It's human nature. But be careful. People that you deal with, give them a chance, listen to them, check them out if you're not too sure, and have things checked that you have to sign, but don't make judgments quickly. Give somebody a chance. Have no expectations from people. If they say they're going to do it, hopefully they do, but just be aware, be careful, have no expectations, and never expect a thank you. Like I said, I always say please and thank you, but don't expect one, because sometimes you're going to be very, very disappointed. And then I always say, give up the need to know why things happen as they do, whether it be in your business or your personal life. The bad things, the good things, all kinds of things. Give up worrying about why that happened. It will become evident. You need to learn, you need to grow, and sometimes those things grow us. Trust that the unscheduled events of our lives are a form of spiritual direction. I really do believe that, because life goes off track sometimes. You're running a business, you get ill, your child gets ill, there's a loss in the family, there's a loss in the business. It creates deviations. But again, stay focused. Just keep going. Learn from those things. And then the famous sayings, have the courage to make the choices we need to make, accept what we cannot change, and have the wisdom to know the difference. Really, just have that courage. Passion, I've spoken about. You need to be seriously passionate about what you do. Even the filing, which I hate, or making out invoices, I hate. I like the creativity side of things. I can't bear the budgets. I can't bear the finance side. I can't bear any of those things. But you know what? I still need to be passionate about it, because that's part of my business. So you need to love all aspects. And like I said, a sense of humor is all important, because when things really get tough, you need to have a sense of humor. I'm nearly there. My very, very biggest and best one is treat everyone with respect. So whether it be the lady who makes your tea, or the person who makes your tea at the office, to the big CEO of one of your major clients, everyone deserves to be treated with respect. And I'm very, very particular about that. And I hate to be singled out. If I walk into often when I walk into a store and people recognize me, they're serving somebody else, and then they suddenly leave that person and come to me and say, oh, how can we help you? And I say, please finish that helping that person, and I'll wait happily. It's respect. It's just respect. Everyone is equal as far as I'm concerned. When I was asked to talk on the entrepreneurial spirit, and I can only talk from my experience, but I did go and Google a little last night, and I came up with some interesting names, and I want to share this with you because it might be of interest to you too. Richard Branson, of course, we all know who Richard Branson is. He's the rebel billionaire and a multipreneur because he has so many diverse interests in what he does now, and is very, very well admired. And just as a matter of interest, he dropped out of school at 16. So that's quite interesting. Oprah, she has become obviously world's most admired entrepreneur, and again came from very, very, very humble beginnings. But she just had a focus, she had a vision, and she shared. And I think, often we've got to give a little to get a lot, and people don't understand that. They try and hold it all to themselves. You've got to have those open hands to receive as well as give. Coco Chanel is one of my favorite people, and I will end with a quote from Coco Chanel. Chanel, one of the largest brands in the world. This is a lady who, her signature fragrance, Chanel, was launched in 1923 and is still the highest selling fragrance in the world. So that's very interesting. She was born in 1883 and she died in 1971. And she had absolutely no education. She grew up in the ghettos of Paris making hats and went on to create an empire known as Chanel. Simon Cowell, he brought us idols. He brought the world idols. Also somebody who dabbled in so much, very, very interesting career, and a big music mogul millionaire. And he had absolutely no formal education as well. Walt Disney, another huge name, the man behind the mouse, is one of the most recognized brands in the world. And it all started with him sketching a rabbit, because that's what Walt Disney is all about, all the comic books. And he dropped out of high school. Henry Ford, well, he brought us the motor car when people thought he was crazy and they were still riding horses and carriages and all of those sorts of things. He brought us the very first automobile, and everyone thought, this man has lost his mind. Also, didn't have a formal education. Ray Kroc, who was the founder of McDonald's, he dropped out of high school. So very, very interesting. And then Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple. He's a billionaire today, obviously, and he didn't complete college. So what I'm trying to say here is education is important. We need to learn. We need to find out things. But it's not something that if we haven't had that education, it shouldn't be holding us back. We still can go out and achieve huge things. We have a couple of our own huge entrepreneurs and people that have done amazing things in our own country. Patrice Motsepe, who is now owns football teams, and he runs mines, and he's on the Forbes top list of world's richest people. And he comes from South Africa. Mark Shuttleworth, we all know what he did. He ended up in space. And that was all from something he started in a garage, the company that he built up. So again, people regard him as a nerd. He's an amazing man. And he, again, has given back to society and to children in South Africa with what he's done. So what I'm saying to you here is, the world is your oyster. And go out and grab it with both hands. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve. If you need to ask for help, ask for it. Don't be afraid. If you make a mistake, doesn't matter. Get up, dust yourself off, carry on, stay focused, because that's what it's all about. It's going to be hard work. There's no such thing as a free lunch. We work for whatever we want, and that's the only way to achieve it. Just remember, you will be managing people, finances, and your own time. You're not working for a corporate where you arrive at 9 o'clock in the morning and you leave at 5, and at the end of the month, your money's in your bank account. It's all up to you. You've got to make that happen. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes there's good months. Sometimes there's not so good months. But you need to manage that. And you will need to be disciplined to do all of those things as well. But you know what? At the end of the day, the rewards are huge. They're great. Just to know you've managed to land that new client, you've managed to do that big job that you got, and to deliver it. And I know the way I felt when I did that function for 2,000 people, and it was my very first function, and I've done hundreds and hundreds since. But that one always sticks in my mind, because I did it, because I had the courage, maybe because I was a little stupid and I didn't know what I was doing and getting myself into. But you know what? I'm glad I did. And like I said, I would like to end with a quote from Coco Chanel. And this, again, is not just about a beauty situation. This is about a company situation. She reminds us that nature gives you the face you have when you're 20. Life shapes the face you have when you're 30. But it's up to you to earn the face you are going to have when you're 50 and beyond. So I really take this opportunity of saying thank you for listening to me. I wish you well in what you are doing, creating, and giving. And yeah, just go out there, grab it, and take it by the scruff of the neck and shake it.
I need to invite a very, very special friend of mine that has grown to be a very special friend. Veronica Kroc is with the Lusa Community Chest. Please, Veronica. And Veronica needs to say a few words. And I actually kept it back because I forgot. And how